Hey, it's Jared. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a handful of cases for the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7. Now, these are cases that I picked up from Amazon. There are a ton of cases available on Amazon, but I picked a handful of cases from the brands that had the most reviews, that had their products to market first, to see which case is going to do the best job of protecting our Z Fold 7. We're going to check things like form factor, but we're also going to check for MagSafe and wireless charging compatibility. Now, even though I'm wearing an Apple Watch right now, I have been using this phone for the last 30 days as my main phone, and I absolutely love it. I'll be reporting soon on my full review of the Z Fold 7, which will include some comparisons to the Pixel 10 Pro and the Galaxy S25 Ultra that was reviewed earlier this year. So let's jump into those cases. First, we have the Torras case. This is a brand that produces a lot of cases for a lot of different devices. This is called the Spin Magnetic. It's the case that I have most recently tested out on this phone. It comes in this nice large box here. It comes with a couple of screen protectors and all of the installation stuff that you need for that. So this is the case. It has a magnetic flip out attachment on it that allows you to prop the phone up, per se, like that. You could prop it up at multiple angles. Even with the phone opened completely, you could prop it up. The ring that articulates on the back is a really nice touch, especially when you are reading. You could just kind of tuck a couple of fingers in there and hold the device, and it's much more comfortable than squeezing the device and having to maybe get a finger or two onto the side of the phone, which often results in some accidental taps. So it's nice having this rotating ring on the back. It tucks away nicely. It does have very strong magnets, as you can see. It's got the MagSafe type of attachment on the back of it. And as you can see, it is wireless charging compatible as well. I have the attached screen protector installed, which almost goes all the way to the edges. I don't really like it because around the edges, it kind of reflects a little bit of light. I don't know if you could see that here in the video, but it reflects a little bit of color and it's just really distracting. It's not quite as wide as the screen itself, which definitely obstructs the viewing. So a couple additional features of this case is that it does have a protection over the spine of the phone. So right at the fold edge, we've got protection all the way around the phone, which is really nice. Some of these other cases either provide a ton of protection or maybe not enough. I feel like this case is right in the middle. It has protection around the camera module. It doesn't allow the phone to sit completely flat. The phone does still rock, but that's pretty much par for the course for any phone these days, is that it's not going to sit flat on a table. When you open the phone up, it's got protection all the way around, and I've never had any issues accessing any of the buttons or any of the ports with this case. It is very easy to open the phone with this case. I feel like they did a good job of having just enough grip, and there's a little bit of an angle on this edge here that just makes it really easy to open the phone up, which I like. Moving along, we have the Slim Armor Pro from Spigen. Now, this case is a little bit slimmer than the last case that we looked at. I especially noticed that in the cover that protects the hinge of the phone. Now, I feel like the edges of this case are a little bit sharper. As I'm hand holding the phone, it does feel a little bit less smooth in my hand. What I noticed is that it does have the easy open right here, a little bit of an angle. It makes it easier to open up. This is actually a one-piece case. It's connected with these little hinges right here, which kind of crunch a little bit. Actually, I think it might be the hinge protector on the back that's making a little bit of noise. I don't really like that. But overall, the case is pretty nice. It has nice protection all around all the important parts. It works with the screen protector that I left on from the previous case, although I still wish that this screen protector had a little bit more width. There are a couple of adhesive strips inside of this case that hold it onto the phone. The last case did not have that. This is a thing that definitely has been used over the years for these phones, is adhesive to keep the case from sliding off of the phone. This does actually come with an extra set of adhesive strips should you need to take the case off for any reason and apply it to another phone or reapply it to this phone. So the Slim Armor Pro is pretty decent. I like that it has some texture on this end here. It does have the branding right here on the edge, which I tend to prefer cases that don't have any branding on them at all or very minimal branding. But overall, I have to say, I do like this case. It looks good when the phone is opened. Everything looks really nice. Now, the only thing that I don't like is the noise the case makes when you open the phone. Now, I noticed that if your hand is not on the back of the phone, it's not making that noise. But when you open the phone, your hand's probably going to be on the back side of the hinge, and that's when it makes noise, and it's actually catching right here, which is a light part of the case. And I would fear that over time, opening and closing this, it's actually going to stress this, potentially break it or cause damage to it. I don't really know. This is just speculation from using this case just now. I personally don't really like that, but it might not be a problem. Let's check the phone for MagSafe compatibility. You can see that it does. And wow, that's actually a really strong magnet on the back of there, much stronger than the Torras case. And let's see if we get wireless charging support through the back of this case. And yep, looks like we do. We have it working, so fantastic. All right, the next case is from a company called Temdan. This is a fully protective case with a built-in screen protector, and it definitely bulks the phone up quite a bit, but boy does it add a lot of protection. It has a relatively large hinge here on the back that also has a built-in kickstand. So when your phone is opened like this, we could prop it up really easily. And even though this rocks a little bit, let's just make sure that everything is the way that it's supposed to be here. Yeah, it's just gonna rock a little bit, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I do like the fact that I could prop up the phone in this way, and this feels much more secure to me than having the ring off to the side, having a lot of extra phone on this side without any support facing down. So I do like this. I mean, this is kind of odd that we have this big arm that then we need to snap down, but I don't know, where else would you hide it? I mean, the design is decent. So I kind of like the idea of the integrated kickstand here. You know, it's not my favorite design, but I don't know how else they would do this. I tend to be someone that fidgets with things like this, so I'd probably be fidgeting with this a lot. I hope that it would hold up to the abuse. But the section protecting the hinge is quite large, making the phone quite a bit wider. It's very easy to open up, and the outer bezel edge here on the case looks pretty good. Nothing to complain about there. One thing I did notice is that it does have an additional magnet in here for MagSafe, but the finish on it just isn't really that good. I don't know if you could see the edges here around this. It looks like either the paint on the magnet is chipping off or just something isn't too right there, but let's take a look and see how strong that magnet is. That's actually even stronger than the last one that we looked at, which is pretty impressive. Let's go ahead and test it for MagSafe charging. You can see that it does work just fine. So pass-through charging is not affected by this case. Overall, I have to say I like the case. It's not necessarily my favorite. It does have a lot of adhesive strips inside of it holding it onto the phone, which is probably good because on other cases, this little edge over here is very flimsy. And with the adhesive strip that goes down this side, this is very firm. And the built-in screen protector adds to that rigidity as well. Overall, I have to say I do like this case. I think if they had just stepped up the quality a little bit in some of these areas that just seem a little bit flimsy or rushed in the processing, this would have been the perfect case. The next case is by Mobosi, and it is a sleek case with kind of a smoked dark look to it. You get to see the Samsung logo back in here, and it looks like they were potentially preparing for S Pen placement here. I don't know, this is a little confusing to me. Oh, it says, okay, if purchased the version without the pin slot, ignore this step. So this version has the pin slot, and it says only available for Fold 5, Fold 6, so it looks like maybe they just didn't completely update their design and still included something there. I do like the fact that I could see the Samsung logo down through the middle, but it's an awfully large cover on the backside here if we're not going to get any S Pen support. So not a big deal, but definitely an interesting oversight. The rest of the case looks pretty good. We've got the volume rocker covered here and open for our fingerprint scanner. So interesting choice that they decided to cover up one and leave the other exposed. Obviously, we need the fingerprint reader. When we open up the case, looks pretty good, felt good on the open, and everything about this case looks pretty good. Even has a little bit of raised edge here around the corners just to provide maybe ever so slightly a little bit of protection. I don't think anybody's going to be setting down their Fold like this, but should you, there's a little bit, tiny bit of protection there where most of the other cases are completely flush. Obviously, you need the case to be completely flush in order for it to close. There are some things that kind of stick out to me a little bit about this case. As you can see, there's a little bit of a gap here on the ends, but it's nice and tight here in the middle. And I have the case pressed on. I mean, it has adhesive strips in there as well, so it holds the phone in place within the case, but I don't know, that's just a little bit interesting to me. It just doesn't look like these corners should be touching, and if I squeeze them together, they do, but they don't stay that way. Overall, I mean, it's a decent looking case. It has a built-in screen protector and it has privacy as well. So as you can see, when I rotate the phone, we have that privacy guard that protects people from being able to see your screen at an angle, which is a nice feature. We do have MagSafe, as we can see on the back. We've got decent strength magnet, not as strong as the last couple of cases, but still plenty strong enough for the magnet. And let's go ahead and test for wireless charging. We'll attach that to the back. And yes, we have wireless charging, as you can see here. Not a problem with that attachment, and I feel like that would be strong enough to connect to pretty much any wireless charging dock that you have. This is the Unicorn Beatle Pro from Supcase, and Supcase makes some real stunning looking cases. A lot of them have a lot of really great features, like a built-in kickstand here on this one that makes it very easy to stand the phone up and then also prop it up like so, and then it just slides away and snaps right into place and lays flat like that. So as you can see, this is a pretty thick case. It adds quite a bit of heft to the phone. We've got the hinge cover here, as you can see, protects it nicely. We've got a built-in screen protector with adhesive along the side that helps keep this from sliding around. When we open the case, everything feels really nice. We've got tons of protection all around the corners here, and I feel like the phone is well encased in this case. We've got an opening here for the volume rocker and the lock button fingerprint reader. Good coverage around the camera module. Let's check and see if this phone has MagSafe. It does not. We have sacrificed MagSafe for a kickstand. That's pretty common in the Unicorn Beatle Pro line. The kickstand does interfere with having any form of a magnet there. But let's see if we could at least get some wireless charging through the back, even though we won't have a magnetic attachment. Let's see if we still get wireless charging. We do have wireless charging showing up in the top hand corner. You can see here that it is working, but it would be a bit challenging as you'd have to lay this down on a pad, and then we have the raised area for the camera module, which means that it might raise the phone up a little bit and affect wireless charging. So with the Unicorn Beatle Pro, you trade out a ton of extra protection and the kickstand functionality for your MagSafe and perhaps even wireless charging. But overall, it's a pretty nice case. I do notice a little bit of misalignment here with the seating. I have the phone fully attached. You can see it is in the case completely, but it does seem like this line here is just a little bit off. And I would fear that over time, this would just become worse. And to me, the alignment of things is really important. I'd be looking at this all the time, noticing that this is not seating up as well as it does down here. And that would be problematic for me. Now, I did check and everything is in alignment here. All of these are pushed in the way they're supposed to be. As you can see here, the cutout for the camera is perfectly in line with what's on the case. So I know that the case is on properly, but we still are just having some issues there. But overall, this is the case that provides the most protection out of all the cases that we've looked at so far. So if you do need something a bit more durable that's going to protect the phone more, this is probably the best option for you. Lastly, we're going to install a screen protector by Benks. Benks produces a lot of good cases and stuff as well, but I do have their screen protector here. So I'm just going to wipe off the front of the phone and we're going to apply a screen protector. This would be great for those of you that just want a screen protector and don't want a full case. I think a screen protector is necessary on a phone like this. Many of you may have seen the tests on the screen that were ran by Jerry Rig, and for me, I definitely want a screen protector on the outside of this phone. Probably do want a case also, but I think that a screen protector on the outside, especially if you're wanting to keep your phone more stock and not have a case on it, definitely a screen protector on the outside is a great option. But after having been carrying this phone for the last month, I know that I would need some extra protection on the phone just to keep it safe. So let's go ahead and pull out the bottom layer here and then pull out the little tab. We're fully attached here, just making sure everything is good. And then we could pop off the alignment tool here, just being very careful, and it's going to go ahead and remove that as well. You can see we've got a couple of little bubbles in here that we could work out with our fingertip. That's probably because I didn't clean the front of the phone very well after having taken all of these other cases on and off the front of the phone. Very important, I think, even if you use one of these screen protector application tools that says that you don't have to clean anything off, that you actually do clean your screen off, because grease from the fingerprints is the number one thing that's going to leave marks behind on the front of the phone. So I think it's really important to clean your phone first. This screen protector looks really good. It is more edge to edge, as I talked about at the beginning of the video with the Torras screen protector not going edge to edge. This one most definitely does, and I really like it. It's a great looking screen protector, covers up the entire front face of the phone without any obstruction. I don't see any of the weird color fringing that I saw with that other screen protector, so I'm really liking this one. And I've got one late entry here that showed up from Thinborne, and we're gonna go ahead and open this one up and install it just so that you can see the process, as this is a last edition. I got this one in just before we finished editing the video, so thought we would check it out. I definitely have some Thinborne cases on some of my other devices, and I'm looking forward to seeing what a thin case on the Galaxy Z Fold 7 looks like. So the back of the case here is going to use some adhesive. This is a very thin case, so it is going to require a little bit of adhesive. I recommend, if you're going with any of these cases that have adhesive, that you clean off the phone. It comes with some extra strips as well. It also comes with a screen protector and what you need to properly install the screen protector. So I highly recommend doing this before installing any case. If you've used your phone, just give it a little spray with some cleaner and wipe it down just to make sure that everything is nice and clean before you put a case on, whether it's a case with adhesive or not, because if there's any debris in or around your phone that gets in there, you can actually scratch the phone a little bit, especially if it's harder debris. So I always highly recommend cleaning your phone before putting a case on it. So be very careful when you pull these little adhesive tabs off, just not to remove the adhesive itself. Obviously, we have extra adhesive just in case you do, but just make sure to be very careful, as some of these tabs can be a little bit challenging to remove without removing the adhesive from the phone case itself. Now, as you can see, this case is going to add MagSafe compatibility to our Fold 7. There we go. The back cover has been installed. Now we'll clean off the front. I do have to say, these adhesives are being a little bit challenging, but if you take a moment and just kind of run your fingertip over the adhesive strip just to make sure it is nice and adhered to the case itself, it's much easier to remove. And keep in mind, you do have extra adhesive strips just in case. So we're going to want to make sure to install this correctly. The thin bezel will be over here on the left-hand side of the phone, and the larger bezel protecting the right-hand side of the phone. So let's go ahead and just slide this into place here very gently, because the adhesive is there. We want to make sure that the case is pressed all the way over to the side of the phone before pressing down the adhesive on this side. We'll snap this side into place. There we go. Now, what I absolutely love about this case is that it does not add a ton of thickness to our phone. And one of the main benefits of having this phone is that when it's folded, it's not much thicker, if thicker at all, than most other phones are. So you don't want to add a ton to the phone, but you just want to make sure that it is protected. And we can see all the way around the device, it does have good ample protection. And then when we open up the phone like so, everything lines up nicely. And yeah, it's just a good looking case. Very simple, very thin. Now, in my opinion, if you're not worried about edge protection, you don't even necessarily need to install the front cover. If you have a screen protector on the front of your phone, I feel like you're amply protected. But it does add a nice sleek look all the way around our Fold 7. I really like this case. I did not want to add much to the phone at all, and this case achieves just that. So what do you think about those cases? Which one was your favorite? I know there are a lot of cases available out there. These are just a handful of cases that are available on Amazon. So I've got links down in the description below for you to check them out. I think it's important to protect your investment with this phone being so expensive and having so many moving parts on it. I think it's important to have some form of protection keeping it safe. If you found this video useful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in how my 30 days has been going carrying this phone, using the cameras and all the different features, make sure to follow along. I've got some links down in the description below for photo examples and my full review that's coming soon. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you back in another one soon. Take care.